Good afternoon, everybody. We are back again with Reset the Table live from my apartment, of course, on Instagram. I'll let everybody kind of file in here. Let the masses join. I think I'm going to be able to do this with no hiccups today. Just putting that out there. I'm putting weight on my shoulders, but I'm getting pretty proficient at the old Instagram live. I mean, I'm biased, but this hoodie's fire, so just saying. Snatch it up yourself. Tied it around, keep the hood tight, keep my neck warm. Although all this hair is keeping me so much warmer than I actually want to be. Okay, we'll let people get up in here. Sissy, did you do your eyebrows? I always get my eyebrows ready when I go on camera. Can't be looking bald up in here. Okay. Well, welcome back to Reset the Table, live on Instagram, presented by Inc. I'm your host, Megan Rapino. So excited. This is, something that I look forward to every Wednesday afternoon. I get the opportunity on behalf of all of us at Inc. To talk to some truly incredible people who are reimagining the status quo in their own way, in their own lives, in their own fields, and who are gracious enough to come and share that experience with us and with you. Ultimately, when we started Reset the Table way back last fall, we didn't really know the impact that it would have or could have, and we walked out of that incredible brunch on that sunny day just so filled up and so energized by all of the people that we heard. It's one thing to come together and convene and to break bread. Who hates brunch? Everybody loves brunch. You get together. But it was a meeting of the minds and a meeting of a collective spirit that really is committed and passionate about this world and about reimagining what the world could be, not only for themselves and mostly not for themselves, but for everyone. It's creatives, it was people in politics, it was athletes like myself and our co-founders. And it was just such a special time where we all actually left there bigger than when we got there, taking ideas back out into the world, taking these really, amazing conversations back in the world to, hopefully do what we can to make this world a better place. So to be able to continue to bring these to you live on Instagram during these times that demand our reimagination is something that's so special to us. So without further ado, I'm going to try to find our guest here. Shantell Martin is our guest today. She's an incredible visual artist. She's had collaborations with Puma, Kendrick Lamar. She's been in MoMA. I'm going to make sure I get this right. I'm going to read these ones. She does large scale. She's best known for her large scale black and white drawings. She's collaborated with the New York City Ballet as well, Museum of Moving Image. MoMA, as I said, her first art book, Lines, is available now. We will make sure that we get that information to everyone, but she's insane. So now I'm going to have to do this quickly, otherwise I will have put undue burden on myself in saying that I was going to nail it and then not being able to nail it. So I am looking for the one area where it's like, get me the guest. I found her. Go live. Okay, this is pretty good. Now we just gotta wait for her to get in. Hey!
It's like a little treasure hunt.
Oh, it's always a treasure hunt. It's such a scene. I'm like way better at it than now than I ever have been before, but the first few were pretty rough. And then it's just like my face in the camera, like staring blankly at all the names. Shantell Martin, everybody. How are you?
Good. Well, thanks for doing this every Wednesday. That's super generous of you, and I'm sure everyone's really, enjoying it as well. So
I hope so. Yeah, it's been really fun for me. So even if other people aren't enjoying it, at least I am.
Right.
We've had a lot of feedback from the community when we started these. I started to do a moment of meditation. I'm sweating just thinking about having to lead it again. It's very out of my comfort zone. The community has demanded it. I think even some of my fellow co-founders have demanded it online and offline of me. So if you'll humor me, I will lead us and everybody in this live in a moment of grounding, we'll say. Okay, let's do it. Okay, if everyone can close their eyes. Take a big deep breath in. Let it out. That again. In and out. And your feet find the floor. You can hear the little sounds around you. I ask that everyone just join us, being willing to ask questions, not only of us, but of yourselves. What can we all do in this moment? Big deep breath in and out. And just be present for these next however many minutes Shantell will let us take her time. Okay. Woo!
Cool. That was good. I realized, like, when do we really have the chance to sit still for 1 minute and not think about anything?
I know. It's not very often. Even in quarantine times, it seems the days fill themselves up. How are you? How are you, handling quarantine and COVID and the world around us right now? How is it sort of landing on you, and where are you at right now?
Yeah, so I'm at home in Jersey City, New Jersey,
Okay.
and I think like everyone, I'm just trying to take it day by day, keep myself creative, have a routine. I think that's probably one of the most important things.
Yeah.
And eat healthy, drink healthy, get fresh air, get some sunshine, and also stay connected as much as I can.
Yeah, same. I think we all kind of are realizing how important those connections are. It's kind of like, I feel like the first week of COVID, everyone was like, crazy. And then you sort of have like settled into what you're doing. And it's like, I'm checking in on people more and having more meaningful conversations and sort of taking that time. I was thinking, like, I mean, never in my lifetime, of course. And in yours, have we actually had like a major, just a stop put to our lives? We have different times where maybe we get away for the weekend or we take a vacation, or it's a down period in our work or whatever that is, but never is it just like put the stop on. So has that been hard for you, or you're sort of attacking it? I'm sure it's all of it in one, but how is the sort of stop been put on you?
It's definitely been interesting, and probably like you, I'm very good at keeping myself busy. So sometimes, that stop has to be really forced. So I'm not getting on planes, I'm not flying everywhere, I'm not on stages, I'm not in museums, I'm not doing these sorts of things. But what I have been doing is using this as a time to step back and reflect and see where I want to go, because we've all been caught up in that hamster wheel, running, but not knowing where we're running to. So I've been really using this time to just, sit back, reflect, see where I want to go. But then also just, initially I got through that whole laundry list of things I've been procrastinating on.
Yeah, exactly.
And so once you've done that, then you're like, wait, what next?
Yeah.
And so just for me, just trying to find innovative ways to stay connected to people. I've been drawing on Instagram. I've been talking to students. I've been keeping in touch with my family in London, and you know, most of them are nurses and work in hospitals, so that's, you know, been an interesting perspective there. But just, you know, like you said, just trying to stay connected, checking in with friends. You know, I have friends that have been alone for like 2 months now in Europe, and you know, just checking in on them and being, hey, like, I'm sending you a virtual hug right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mentioned before about the live events that we've had, our brunches, and just how amazing it was to get all of those people in the same room. You know, like you were saying, we get so caught up in the hamster wheel and thinking all these things are the most important things in our lives, and then we just take a step back to actually spend that time with each other. We have cards coming out, so Reset the Table Brunch is coming to a virtual dinner party near you soon. So we've picked out a couple of the questions from the cards that we have that we would love to ask you. The first one, I mean, you're so prolific in your creative work, not only from a scale perspective, but just the impact that it has. What fuels you in that work, and how do you sort of keep that spark alive, even out of quarantine times, but certainly in it? How do you keep that spark alive, and what kind of fuels you in your creative process?
You know, it's interesting when we think of fuel, we're thinking of inspirations and what inspires us. And often you know, we're taught to go out for inspiration. We're taught to look at things and go see things and go listen to things and go read things. And, you know, I think it's a really good point to check what's inside, you know, and you do that by, you know, I mentioned this earlier, if you eat better, you think better, you drink better, you surround yourself with better people, or, you know, kind of better positive things. The result is you're naturally going to want to do what you love to. The result is, you know, your gift can kind of bubble to the top in certain ways. So how am I fueling myself? I'm trying to be a better, more compassionate, less angry, you know, kinder human being. If I see someone on the street, I'm going to say hello, because that's a small act of kindness that can help. It can help me. It might help them. You know, if I see some trash, maybe I'm going to pick it up, put it in the bin. You know, if I can choose to put better things in my body, I'm going to do that. If I can choose to let go of some things that are like twisting, you know, kind of my mind in some way, and I can release that and be less angry on some level, I'm going to do that. And so the result is you become a better person, because now you are fueled to do what you love, and you're fueled to inspire yourself from the inside out.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. We are sort of taught that, like, oh, you want inspiration, like, you know, go look at nature, or go to the beach, or, you know, sit in a park and watch people, or whatever. But there is so much that we can get sort of from inside as well. Do you feel like during this time there's some, whether it's creative or not, there's like some ideas or some creativity that you've kind of put on the shelf, and maybe you haven't had time to explore, or maybe you've been a little bit scared to explore, you know, creatively, that you're sort of dusting off or maybe opening yourself up to during this time?
You know, it's a good question. And, you know, a lot of the things that are on my shelf that I've not been able to do before this time and during this time are those bigger projects that I can't do as an individual. You know, I think as an artist, we are a very small team. You know, most often we don't have this huge infrastructure. So we are one person or 2, 3 people. And so, you know, I love to build architecture. I know, you know, I'm drawing lines, but what if these lines become buildings or become furniture? Or, you know, what if we can reinvent art as education? You know, we talked about going out for inspiration. And, you know, in school, we learn to draw other artists' work to try and find our own work. But what if we can kind of reinvent the way that we learn space and art as a way of, you know, really kind of tapping into who we are as people?
Oh, I love that. What struck me about your work so much was, I feel like it's this like provocation plus or question plus with it. I think, you know, a lot of it's almost easy to question things. It's like, you know, you can put a, you know, a social issue out there, but yes, exactly. Are you? And it's done in this way that is almost simple. It becomes this like huge question that people have to then answer. So it's like this question that you're asking people that maybe they've sort of glossed over a little bit before, or it's like, oh, I'm going to get to that sort of later. but it sticks with them very much. That's what this sort of plus comes in. What's your process around how you choose what questions you're going to ask, or is there sort of a central theme that's like at the heart of everything that you do?
Yeah. So there's a, I have that sticker, and, I've probably given a lot of these people stickers before, but, I'm obsessed with this question of who are you? Are you you? And it's such a simple question. But if I ask you, like, who are you at the core as a human being? Mm-hmm. And you can probably tell me where you're from, what you do, the roles that you play in life. But when I ask you, like, no, actually, who are you as a human being? We don't really have the vocabulary or the words to answer that.
People get all like,
yeah, like,
it gets real awkward really quick.
and that's, it's expected, because we're not given the opportunity to figure out who we are at the core. And I think once we start to figure out what the words and vocabularies are to answer that question, everything else will fall into space and place, because we'll have that real perspective that, is coming from the core values. And so, I think for me, just asking those simple questions that just really put the perspective and the truth where it should be, then everything else falls into place. So in a way, I'm asking myself, like, who am I? Like, what's the point in making art? Well, for me, the point is that I get to plant these seeds in the form of questions, and I get to plant these seeds in the form of these phrases that perhaps inspire you or someone else to go out there and be on a much truer path, in a way, without it sounding too cheesy.
Oh, I love that. COVID having given us so much more time without all of the things that we put on ourselves for who we are. Most people, with the exception, of course, of essential workers and healthcare workers, we don't have that title of, oh, I'm an athlete anymore. Right now, it's like, I'm not. I'm doing, squats in my living room. That's not a professional athlete. A lot of people are out of their jobs, or they've sort of have their work taken away from them. I'm interested in this question of, we have our work, which we, that's what we do to make a living. And then we have like our work, like what's our work for our life? Are those the same thing for you? And like, how do you look at that? Of course, you have to, pay bills and, have a place to live and make money. But it seems you're able to sort of do that at the same time. That is kind of your life's work. Do you see it that way, as two different things, or sort of the same thing?
Yeah, I love to answer that. And then after, I'd love to ask that question of you too, because I think you're coming from a similar place perhaps. But, for me, it's like, where does the work begin and where do I begin? And where do those kind of meet in the middle, if they do? And the fact is, as an artist, and I would tell everyone, if you want to be an artist, don't. Unless you really, really, really feel like you can't do anything else, and your whole entire existence is about being an artist, because it's such a weird career where no one really supports you. If you're a big business, great, let's get you some startup money, and let's get you some lawyers, and let's get you a 5-year plan. And if you're an artist, we say good luck. But then if you succeed, we're going to call you a sellout. And, it's such a bizarre career where I feel like the work and the work for me are the same. They have to be the same. And for some reason, it's not my choice. I've been chosen for this and chosen for this, and I have to go down this path because I have to be true to that work. And so there's nothing else I could be doing or should be doing. And it's a bizarre career path, but that's just how it looks.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's like, no, I don't feel like my life's work is, the technical thing of running around and kicking a soccer ball, but I feel like I've put them together. I've put sort of everything together to say that when I'm playing soccer, I think because I've been outspoken about things, and because, whatever, I came out as gay, or I've supported, women's rights or pay equity or whatever. Now, when I'm doing my work, the thing that pays my bills, I'm doing it as my life's work, sort of, as like what I'm passionate about. And then everyone knows that. So I feel like I've sort of like forced my work into my work. And now it's not this separate thing. Like I don't want to just be, you know, someone who plays soccer over here and then does all these things off the field over here. I want them all to be together. And I feel like that's how I find a lot of my passion with it. Sometimes it intersects perfectly. We're talking about pay equity, of course, with the national team. We have that fight. Sometimes it doesn't, but I feel like because I'm living as my full self and try to implement like things that I'm passionate in all parts of my life, then I'm like, I'm just going to force my work into my work. And I feel like, you know, with the platform that we have with the national team and how popular that is, I've been able to leverage that for the things that I'm actually really like passionate about. Of course, I'm passionate about soccer, but you know, there's so many other things. So I feel like I just am like, no, I don't accept that this has to be over here and this has to be over here. I kind of want to put it all into one thing as much as possible.
It's a really nice way of looking at it. And then passion becomes the glue. So it doesn't matter really what you're doing. If you have that passion, you can glue those and merge those two things together.
Exactly. Oh, man. I see your painting behind you.
Yeah, it's not black and white. I put a little colorful one there in the back. So.
Okay. What's been one of your favorite pieces that you've ever done?
I think one of my favorite was something I did at the end of last year. And at the end of last year, I did a project called The May Room. And it's on, have you been out to Governor's Island?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so if you go out to Governor's Island, you know, that little island south of Manhattan, there's a place that's now called the May Room, and it's in the form of an old chapel, an old military chapel. And it's a space for poetry, contemplation, and freedom. And you walk in, you take your shoes off, and it's a quiet place. There's no electricity in the space, but you have the beautiful light coming in from these church windows. And on the floor, you know, imagine it's all white and black. And there's a maze on the floor that's in the form of a drawing. And so you've taken your shoes off and you walk this maze and you recalibrate your mind and you recalibrate yourself and you become calm. And then you see all these phrases on the wall. And these phrases are in a form of positive affirmations or wishes, like, may you be strong. May we save trees. May you sleep soundly at night. May you find love. May you, may we, may you, may we. And it's the first type of place or project I've worked on where you go there for the purpose of being quiet and for being calm and for having a moment for yourself. And, you know, I think it's beautiful. I love the message behind it. And it's also a project I wanted to create for years and years and years. And so now I'm so happy that, you know, when things kind of start to move back in motion, there is this place you can go to and have that time to yourself.
I love how you bring these provocative questions in the most simplest of ways of things. Someone just to be quiet or to just sit with themselves, or one single line that maybe turns into something else. We talk a lot at about reimagining the status quo and how do we do that? And I think sometimes people feel an overwhelming, you know, weight that I have to like change the entire world at one time. But oftentimes it is just the simplest of things that you can do in your everyday life. How do you reimagine the status quo? That might be, you know, you picking up trash on the floor, like you said before, or it might just be a mindset that you have. How do you reimagine your status quo in your everyday life?
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, it's just about, you know, this idea of a simple pen. You know, I'm imagining the status quo that this pen can take me anywhere. You know, this is such a simple, accessible tool, but it's a tool that can allow me to collaborate. It can allow me to travel. It allows me to imagine projects that no one ever imagined for myself. It's allowed me to connect people and put a really positive message out there in the world. And so just the status quo of saying, hey, anyone can pick this up. And if you put enough passion and glue and hard work and good intention behind it, it can take you anywhere, no matter who you are or where you're from.
I love that the passion is the glue keeps coming up. We had a conversation with Patrice Cullors last week, who's one of the founders of Black Lives Matter. And we were asking her, obviously she started this, you know, little world changing movement, and she's just an incredible, visionary and artist and activist and organizer of our time. And we were kind of asking her, like, how do people, get involved? And it's bringing me to this moment. It's like, use passion as your glue and have that be your first step. And then the next step will be easier and easier. You'll want to take it. You don't have to change the entire world with one moment. It just might take one pen stroke or one idea, or something that you can give your time to or give your energy to. But it's that passion is the glue that sort of keeps everything together. It keeps you in it, really.
Exactly. And I think it's, you're changing yourself before you can change the world. It's about like looking in before you can look out. And so you take care of yourself before you can take care of others. And, and I don't mean that in a selfish way, but sometimes, we have to break out of ourselves or out of where we're from to get to a place where we are equipped to help other people and to change the world in many ways.
Yeah, I don't think it's selfish at all. I feel like if you flip the question on its head, if you want to help other people and that's what you're all about, there's someone on the other end of that help that's needing it. So it's like at times when you need it, ask for it. At times when you have extra, you sort of give it in the same way. So I love that idea of, and I think as an artist too, for you, it's like as much as the artists need to take time for themselves to get themselves right so they can put beauty and they can put provocation and they can put reimagination into the world. If we have to be the ones that give you that time, I'm totally fine with that. You granted all self-time that you need for all artists for infinity.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever. And more small business loans for artists. Come on. Yeah. Well, we are so thankful for you sharing your time during these wild COVID times. We love the conversation. I've been tracking a little bit of the comments. I feel like there's going to be people going back to their drawing boards and getting more creative and using the inspiration that you gave them. We're so thankful for not only your art in the world, but just who you are as a person, and thankful for you sharing your time with us today. This has been so wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks for being an inspiration, doing this every Wednesday and, pulling that passion behind your glue and your work and, being an example for everyone. So, thank you.
Oh,
nice hoodie.
Yeah, nice hoodie. Yeah, we'll have to get you one of these. It's nice.
Cool,
all right.
Perfect.
Take care.
Nice. All right. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.